As you mentioned, he came back against Rob Cross in the final for Rob Cross's first televised final since winning the European Championship last year, his second final overall, including a floor final this year. 8-4 up, but loses 11-9 after Price took 7 of the last 8 legs. How should Rob Cross reflect on his weekend?
Yeah, it's a shame for Rob. He put himself in such a good position in that final, 8-4 up. We almost got ourselves a Rob Cross appreciation minute of the weekend, and which we all love. But I'm still going to give him one for this week, because you think back after the Premier League was eliminated, a lot of people saying that he was going to stay in. It was going to be Daryl Gurney that was going to be eliminated, and unfortunately for Rob, lost all 3 of his games after that restart. Went out first round in the World Match Play. The month before that, his title defence of that title ended in the first hurdle, and there's been a lot of question marks regarding Rob Cross, and he's come back well at the weekend. Okay, he's had a couple of ropey games. The first game played against Steve Beaton, who averaged 75, beat him 6-0, and even the semi-final against James Wade, both players averaging in the mid to high 80s. It's not one that you want to go back and watch if you missed it at the weekend, but I'll give Rob some props, really, because the other 2 games, the quarter-final, one of the most underrated games on TV this year, I think. We didn't quite have the 100-plus averages that we expect from these top players, but it was a really tight game, and Michael Smith was 8-6 down, pulls out 13 and 11 dart legs to make it 8-all. What does Rob Cross do? Replies with an 11 dart hold, 12 darter to break to win 10-8. It's the darts that we've come to expect from Rob Cross when he is playing at the top of his game. And as I say, the final, he'll look back on it as a missed opportunity. 8-4 up, to let that lead slip and lose 11-9. He'll be gutted about that. 8 out of 12 on the doubles he was at that point when he had that big lead of 8-4, and I suppose from there that the scoring let him down a little bit. A combination of that and Gerwyn Price putting in some good legs to get back to it, and Rob only had 4 more darts at a double after that for the rest of the game, the odd dart here and there. But when we think back a month ago, Premier League restart, losing those games, people writing him off. It wasn't perfect the whole way through this run that he's had to the final, but I think there's enough good signs there for the appreciation minute.
You hit a lot of what I was going to say. There's not much positive he can take out of the weekend, but after a year that has had a lot of negative, to not have much negative takeout other than blowing the 8-4 lead is a step in the right direction. And those last 4 legs that you alluded to against Michael Smith were 4 of the best legs of the entire weekend. Let's take those legs out. The rest of that match really wasn't that good. Yes, Cross got over the line, and yes, Cross lifted his game when he needed to. But he didn't have to play against Steve Beaton. He didn't have to really play that much against James Wade and still got pushed. He didn't have to play that well for most of it against Michael Smith and still got pushed. And then he let an 8-4 lead slip away. And that, to some extent, is concerning because his entire season has been concerning. Getting relegated from the Premier League, having only made, in the first 18 Players' Championship events, only won his board 4 times. That is not the Rob Cross of old. If you look back in his first 3 seasons as a professional, from the first 18 Players' Championship events he played, he won his board 7 times his rookie year, 9 times his sophomore year, and 8 times his third year. And in that third year, those 8, he only played 16. So that's 8 out of 16, not even a full 18. He's had half of that through 18 events, playing in all 18 so far this year. Only twice has he even made the quarterfinals. He's usually winning or making finals in at least some of the Players' Championship events. He is far off where he was in his first 3 years as a professional, and it also shows in the averages, 15th in the Players' Championship this year. It's still troubling, but it is a step in the right direction. The fact that he was able to get his timing right in that quarterfinal against Michael Smith is the biggest positive, because his timing has been nowhere to be seen all year. That was a huge confidence boost for him, and something that he needs to look back and realize that when push comes to shove, he can lift his game and he can reach those levels that he did for 3 years. But it's not a positive other than that. His performances were not that of someone who you'd expect to make a final playing like that across 4 matches in most events. It's not time to panic quite yet, but there's definitely a lot more we want to see from Rob Cross that we didn't get to see this week.